This is about ancient technologies, and we start at Peru, Ollantaytambo. This is the gates of the gods, and this technology is much older than the Incas. This is very precise and very nice surfaces. Another one is actually it's Saqsaywaman, and those are similar to this. It's just a different technology, and you can see the surface of the rocks. They have those bumps, and this is in Cusco. They have very precise rocks before Incas also, and you can see the bumps on it, and those are for technology purposes, and it looks like they was melted and poured, and that was the reason those bumps and dentations are in the rocks. And also in Cusco we have similar bumps that in the city, and you can see this is another. You can see two dentations. You can see the surface is very rough, but the rocks to each other is very close, and the surface has holes and outside bumps on it. And this is different technology. This is ancient technology, and that's probably older than the other one, and we can see very precise. And those huge rocks, and I'm gonna stand next to one of them, and we can see how huge rocks that was melted together next to each other. You can see the indentations. And we were going to Bolivia. Those are the Puma Punku's rocks that more precise than anything in Peru actually. We can see measurements. It's very accurate. So those has casting and formations that very accurate. If you measure one side or one holes to the other ones, it's exactly the same. And probably those holes has pins in it when they made it. And this is the famous rocks that very accurate, and the grooves, and the surface is very flat, and looks like casting. In Machu Picchu we have Incas rocks, and those are newer. And this is Ollantaytambo. Those are the huge rocks and very close. And those are the 6 rocks that has tiny rocks between them. Those rocks again looks like they poured it in it, and those are the bumps on it. That's where maybe came out when they finished it. And if this carved, it wouldn't be that rough on those bumps. And you can see the lower, that's very accurate. That's an older technology. And when we see on a higher one, those are newer. That's probably Incas technology. And sometimes you can see inside those bumps too. So the reason for that is probably when they made it, when they poured it, those needed to have that. And also we can see on a gate on the side as well. So those big rocks has between the two, so it's probably resistant to earthquake as well. And it's a very high technology, and it's a different pouring techniques, and has a surface that somewhere is a mold how they made that. And those bumps and everywhere on those ancient technologies, and we can see all over the Peru and also Machu Picchu. And we can see the newer technology that Incas, that the rocks together is nothing common on those, and those are carved pieces. We can see it right here, and also those when they put it together is a different technology. In the ancient at Cusco you can see much older, and this is newer, and obviously has a gap between them. This is total different rocks. There's probably carvings as well. So this is Inca technology again in Machu Picchu, and in another area as well in Peru. Those are not very precise, and those are maybe related to different cultures as well, and they put together the rocks as they came together. And when we get to the Machu Picchu, they have lots of newer Inca technology. The older ones are very precise, nothing you can put them because they're poured together with a certain technology, and maybe we know now, or maybe some people are able to do that or replicate that. So those technology is mixed because one built another one. And we can see here at Machu Picchu that could happen. On the top is the carved pieces, below is the melted. And this kind of between them, it's a different technology because it's very straight lines, The other ones is actually not necessarily straight lines. So we find different, maybe 2 or 3 different cultures, and also that cultures built in each other. You can see clearly that was a newer technology on the top that are not very precise, and sometimes it's mixed the two. This is like a newer Inca technology. And also Puma Punku, what we see right now, those are melted, and you can see that some rocks melted in it as well, different kind of rocks, and we can see here 3, 4 of them right away. And here is, you can see that different rocks, when they poured it, was a little gap between the air packets as well, and those very different design as well. We can see here a surface, very interesting surface, and when they poured it, maybe it was stirred, and you can see some different rocks in the rock as well, and this is also there. And unfortunately in Puma Punku, as I'm standing here, this site is maybe just a half of them was discovered yet, lots of underground, and below the age blocks, by the way, is huge rocks that is not, is different rocks, that was a different, slightly different technology. And those I measured different areas and was precisely the same each side, and those are, it was a casting, so you can see it that when you measure the age block one side, the other one is exactly the same, so it's indication of casting, is not carved or anything. So that's probably needed to investigate and maybe funded by someone or some companies, that this area has very ancient technology, some saying 10, 15,000 years ago. That's very possible, because those technology, we can see here one casting pieces and another one is exactly the same in both directions, and that could be achieved by casting molds and stuff. And this is pieces that also the Incas used. Some of them is used as a sun gate, and we can see here some grooves that is the different material again. You can see inside little pieces that was melted in, and right next to my caliper as well. And this is very precise. It's almost like machined or poured material. This looks like poured, that another rocks in it. Same here. When we pouring concrete, this is a similar method, just we have to find out that exact technology for that. So this trip was basically showing that how possible, and I didn't see any carving marks, more like actually pouring techniques, that when they poured, then some material was dirt in it, and that's how they melted it, and that's how they end up in that areas. So these surfaces could be little holes, tiny holes, 120,000, and you can see the rocks, that air pockets as well again, and those pieces are very visible and all over the different pieces, and very nice surfaces that looks like was something holding the pieces together. And once again, and those are the measurements, are measuring different steps, and 25, it will show some 25, so it's exactly the same. If you measure the top, it's also very polar pieces that could be achieved very easily if you have a mold. And those horizontal looks like it's all identical, 125, and maybe was a metal in it they removed. Over here, there's inlets is also the same, identical each sides, and this is the whole piece that we can see. And this is a triangle, like an arrow looking, and both sides identical when you measure it. And this is how it looks. So when you see those measurements and you see the surfaces, and it looks like to me is a scientific proof that when you pour it into the casting, and that's what's a result, and that's how you do it. The design is not anything that we know, and my guess is if somebody investigating in that half pieces that under the earth, maybe we find more evidence for that. This technology is very modern looking, very precise, and I think that could be an ancient technology that we didn't know. It could be another culture or ancient aliens that visited from some other areas or other planets maybe, or star system. And this measurements, it's showing that how beautifully surfaced, perfect, and that wasn't carved at all. And we can see those different areas that very precise in every direction. So when you measure it, it's definitely very high technology. So the depth is the same here, those areas as well. And when we see those rocks under the ground, it's just wondering how many more available, and maybe some evidence how they made those blocks. And hopefully there will be international help to get funded and get this excavation more and find out how they made that and where is the technology coming from. There's definitely is no nearby even wood in this area that would help to move those. And I think those are poured, and it's a different technology that we don't know yet. And that's probably some, hopefully one day somebody can prove it with a different, those huge 50, 150 ton maybe pieces that was melted together, and instead of carrying the big pieces, because there's no machinery that time probably, or they had something that used that, it's totally different than today's. So that's me in Puma Punku, and those are the different melting techniques, evidences that I saw on my age blocks or on other blocks, the huge blocks that was a different rocks that was probably poured right on the spot. So this is also that Incas moved this gate, and on the back side is evidence of Puma Punku's design, and probably they used that. So looks like that technology is earlier than an Inca's technology, and very precise, very modern. And those age blocks and other blocks is very interesting design, and this kind of proof that this technology they poured, as we say hi to this ancient technology. And this also that Ollantaytambo is very incredible technology on the top of the hill, and this Puma Punku is even older. So you can see lots of blocks under the ground, and somebody need to check this out, and hopefully someone will, because this is a very, very undiscovered area as well.